years ago on the 21st of April, out on the waters around Spivey Point, a small clipper ship drew toward land. Suddenly, out of the night, the fog rolled in. For a moment, they could see nothing, not a foot ahead of them. And then they saw a light. My God, it was a fire burning on the shore, strong enough to penetrate the swirling mist. They steered a course toward the light, but it was a campfire like this one. The ship crashed against the rocks. The hull sheared in two, the mast snapped like a twig, and the wreckage sank with all the men aboard. At the bottom of the sea lay the Elizabeth Dane with her crew, their lungs filled with salt water, their eyes open and staring into the darkness. And above, as suddenly as it had come, the fog lifted, receded back across the ocean, and never came again. But it is told by the fishermen and their fathers and grandfathers that when the fog returns to Antonio Bay, the men at the bottom of the sea, out in the water by Spivey Point, will rise up and search for the campfire that led them to their dark and icy death. 12 o'clock, the 21st of April.
February of 1980, John Carpenter's The Fog was unleashed into theaters. Produced for around a budget of $1 million, grossing roughly $21 million, while still being profitable, it wasn't able to replicate the same level of financial success compared to Carpenter's previous film, Halloween. Following up the highest grossing independent film at the time was already a huge undertaking. The Fog takes a far different approach than Halloween, which is honestly what I like most about it. While still flawed, a good ghost story, accompanied by a genuinely creepy atmosphere, helped make the film very worthwhile in the end. It's the 100th anniversary of the small community of Antonio Bay, being originally built off the stolen fortune and murder of a man named Blake and his crew by the church and town leaders. Blake and his fallen men return from their watery graves, emerging from the ominous fog bank to seek vengeance and reclaim what's theirs. The movie can be a little uneven at points, unfortunately. The opening scene of the old man telling the haunting ghost tale over the campfire is an absolutely perfect introduction. The ominous cinematography by Dean Cundy, accompanied by Carpenter's great direction and eerie synthesizer score, immediately sucks you into the film's atmosphere. All the sequences taking place at night are where the film truly shines. During the daytime, however, the movie just isn't as engaging, with a lot of it feeling like filler. Rounding out the cast are Carpenter regulars, including Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis, Charles Cyphers, Nancy Loomis, and veteran actors including Janet Leigh and Hal Holbrook. The stand-up performance, I think, is Adrienne Barbeau in her film debut, and she really does a solid job at selling her character. The movie follows a decently sized ensemble of characters played by good actors, but most of them are just there to help drive the plot forward. I wouldn't really call the movie scary, necessarily. Creepy, I think, suits it a lot better. And like I said, the movie's strongest elements are the cinematography and direction. With the utilization of filming in an anamorphic widescreen Panavision lens, it really does help make the movie feel larger in scope than its limited budget would make you believe. The Fog is still a horror classic that just happens to be a little rough around the edges. With its pacing issues, I think the movie would be far better suited as maybe a horror short film, maybe part of an anthology of some kind. It has a great concept and makes a worthy attempt at taking the simple sight of a fog bank and creating a creepy essence around it. If you are a fan of Carpenter's work, it is definitely worth a watch. If you're a fan of 80s horror, definitely don't pass it up, but just remember to watch out for the fog.